let's face it, living with juvenile diabetes sucks. Sorry to start on such a downer, but it does segue nicely into one of the strangest product tie-in video games ever made, Captain Novolin for the Super Nintendo. The name comes from Novolin, which was the brand name for a family of insulin products sold by the pharmaceutical company Novo Nordisk. Perhaps you're familiar with the company's more recent commercials.
Whether I'm in a restaurant or out and about, my Flex Pen is with me.
Back in the 90s, Novo Nordisk was interested in promoting healthy living habits amongst children with diabetes. Thus, they decided to fund the creation of Captain Novolin, the world's first, and likely only, video game hero with diabetes. The plot of the game involves alien invaders, disguised as junk food, who have kidnapped Mayor Gooden, who also has diabetes. As the captain, you have only 2 days to save him while keeping yourself healthy by taking insulin, eating properly, and exercising. Jumpin' Jelly John, Fizzy Floyd, Larry Licorice, and Blubberman are just a few of the aliens you have to fend off. And, if I may say so, there simply aren't enough stories involving junk food aliens in science fiction nowadays. No, this is authentic twaddle that only the 90s could bring. As for the gameplay itself, it's surprisingly tolerable and a nice effort by Sculpted Software, a company normally known for its game ports. That doesn't necessarily make it a good game, it just shows that I had ridiculously low expectations going in. The core concept is that of a platformer, and you need to simply dodge enemies in order to reach the end of each stage. You do this for multiple settings across 2 in-game days. There is one way to attack during the game, and that's to press down on the D-pad while in mid-air. Then you just kind of crush your enemies from above. It's actually a little strange considering that there are 5 other perfectly good buttons on the controller that don't do much of anything, but hey, at least it's an attack. As long as you know it's there. I wouldn't exactly call it intuitive. In fact, I played through the whole game without even realizing there was an attack at first. So, yeah, the more you know. The addition of a useless Metroid-style screw attack like jump is frustratingly deceptive for the first-time player. If you get hit 4 times in any way, you lose a life. Not much of a superhero, really. One could assume the developers felt the need to teach complete avoidance of junk food to children with diabetes, but one could also assume lazy programming. The world may never know. On the plus side, depending on how you look at it, it's actually a challenge to make your way through the game. There's no toddler level of difficulty here. Some enemies in particular require some thinking and dexterity to get past, like the bouncing cookie that matches your every jump. You need to time your jump while he's in mid-bounce, so that by the time he gets back to the ground and matches your jump, you can run right under him. Again, it requires more skill than I expected. Furthermore, the game does accomplish some level of competency in slipping in management tips for living with diabetes. In fact, things such as the captain's diet choices can be tailor-suited to the person playing the game if their doctor gives them a 3-digit code to input at the beginning. I mean, you even have to successfully give the captain his correct dosage of insulin at certain points in the day. Well, it's true that the only available option is the correct dose, but to be fair, you can imagine the outrage parents would show if an edutainment game allowed kids to overdose the titular hero. The point is, they could have just made that a lame cutscene, but instead they at least tried to make the practice of puncturing yourself with needles fun. Furthermore, you need to keep an eye on the captain's blood glucose levels during the adventure. If they get too high or too low, it's no bueno. The main way to control this is to eat only the doctor-approved foods scattered throughout the game, but not too much. I was actually surprised to find that eating all of the available healthy foods caused my glucose levels to skyrocket. It sounds strange, but dodging the bouncing jelly donut while being careful to avoid one too many floating apples really did give me a new appreciation for how much management is required in a diabetic's diet. Despite fairly varied level design, the graphics leave a bit to be desired. I mean, they're decidedly below average, especially considering what the Super Nintendo was able to pull off. Not good, but I would say it is acceptable and colorful. You can usually figure out what foods are supposed to be. Usually. As for the sound, well, the graphics are at least acceptable. The game's publisher, Rhea Systems, actually went on to produce 3 more games, all for health education purposes, and all for the Super Nintendo. Including Rex Ronan, Experimental Surgeon, and Bronchi the Bronchiosaurus, which I especially appreciate as a former asthma kid. But for my money, Captain Novolin will always be the king of the healthcare-related video game genre. Trauma Center Under the Knife notwithstanding, though I can appreciate the necessity of certain anime assets in modern medical practice. By which I mean boobs.